Welcome to the DATRE Transcripts. Transcript 019. DATRE answers Tara. John. Okay, we have some questions from Tara, and she asks if DATRE possibly could answer some questions. The first question is, what is your area of interest that you would like to share with us? For example, energy and its effects on the physical world, like geography or astronomy? DATRE. Well, areas of expertise relates to those on your physical planet. We are universal. We do not, shall we say, hone in on individuals. We look at peoples. When we say you, we are looking at people in groups. Like we can see trends, we can see groups of mass consciousness. We can see gestalts, and I say see because we don't see with eyes, we perceive with that which is our being. The only time we can see is when we use the physical eyes of the channel. But our perception is such that we can perceive gestalts, energy gestalts, that are formed by consciousness of people. We can see what they call mass consciousness. We can see trends, in that we can see the direction that large masses of people are going. One of the ways we can do that is we can have the channel turn on television, allow us to come through and view through her physical eyes to see what is going on television. We can see a trend developing or a trend in action, but as for physical beings, the only physical beings that we can relate to is Aona, because we watch her very carefully so that we can keep track of her vibration. However, when she shifts realities, we have to watch her very carefully because her vibration changes, so we have to know where she is at all times in order to be able to communicate through her. Also, when we are using the physical expression you call the body, we have a relationship with John because of the fact that we can see him and interact with him, so that makes it entirely different. Not only that, we know his vibration after many years of working with the two of them. But as an area of expertise, we are in the big universe. We observe from that vantage point. So there are areas that you wish to know about. We speak to you. And when we say we are referring to that which is a group of you, not individually you. The dead zone can talk to individual you, but we cannot talk to individual you because we cannot find your individual vibration. Now, if we are teaching in some manner and there are individuals, we can talk to them to a degree, but only to a degree. We could see their intent, what their purpose is, and that sort of thing, but only in a very generalized manner. Now, as for geography, geography is that which is your mountains, your rivers, your oceans, your land masses. We can perceive those, yes. Now, astrology was mentioned? John, yes. DATRE, well, astrology is... John, sorry, astronomy. DATRE, astronomy. Well, the astronomy is your stars, and your interpretation of your stars is your interpretation of your stars. From our standpoint, you can detect with your instruments only a minuscule amount of that which you have that's called stars and planets and all of these various things that you have put names on for identification purposes. So you see, we're looking down, we're not looking up. So from our vantage point, the whole scheme is very different. So that is the way we view it. We view it from here down, not from your planet up. All right? John, and there's no possible way for you to explore your vantage point because it makes no sense to this vantage point. DATRE, no, none whatsoever. John, a continuation of that same question says, or relationships and individuals and self-growth? You touched on some of that already. DATRE, well, the thing is that as individuals, no. Self-growth, we can see the growth of those that are in masses. We can see the direction that they are going. We can touch into a gestalt. We can perceive archetypes. But individuals, no. That has to come from either you that are in the physical or you that are in the dead zone, which is the same reality. Different vibrations, same reality. You haven't even changed into a sub-reality at that point, okay? John, Okay, now the third part of that question complex says, do you have one particular area of interest? DATRE: yes, very definitely. The area of interest that we have is to try and awaken those that are so layered with multiple layers of physicality, the experiences. In other words, you have layered yourselves with so much of this alive, dead type of thing that you have experienced throughout thousands of years that you no longer know who you are. This is what we are trying to do, is give you information to allow you to know what wonderful beings you are. You have mixed yourselves up so you can't find yourself. You have mixed yourself up with the genetic layering that once you begin to peel off those genetics, you're finding that a lot of things are coming into your awareness spectrum. In other words, you have genetics that you would be shocked if you knew how much genetic layering you had. You're only familiar with the genetics of that which you are living now, the ones of your parents, your grandparents, and that's about it. So you are carrying within you the basic genetic line that has been experienced again and again and again and again. For how many times? So in order to find out anything about yourself, you're going to have to start realizing that you are a multiplicity, not only of the experience that you are having at the present time, but you are also a multiplicity of your genetics, your genetic line, your timeline. You're different. That is what that business of that what you call regression, past life regression, is about. You are tapping into a genetic patterning that was of dramatic importance at one point in your timeline. In other words, if you tap into a genetic happening that was of dramatics, very dramatic proportions, in other words, you can tap into the time when you were, say, a Roman soldier. The reason that you can do that is because of the strength of the genetic patterning that was experienced in that what you call lifetime. Because here you were, you left family, your children, and you go out and you get killed. And it was very dramatic being in a war and being stabbed with a whatever you were stabbed with and killed. And that comes up into the patterning, and you, shall we say, re-experiencing it. Because at that point, when you are doing that, you are allowing the experiences to come up, and in allowing those experiences to come up, we have watched as the mass consciousness of those who have done that have in many cases, not all, but in many cases have been able to release attention that they are carrying within the physical being at the present time. Now, I'm not saying go out and get all kinds of past life regressions, because for some people that does no good at all. So what I'm saying, that is what you do in that particular case. But the thing is that the area that we are concerned with now is with the new energies coming in on your planet that are going to change your planet. They're going to change your physical construct. We're watching you very closely to see how much of that energy you are able to handle. This has never been done before with a physical construct with this solid a hologram. So you must realize that your body is a hologram that is carrying a vibrational patterning. It is like an electrical patterning, because you make holograms with lights and stuff, so you know what a hologram looks like. But you have an important ingredient here. You have within that DNA structure, or whatever you want to call it, you have all of your genetic patterning also. So depending on the individuals, it depends on how much of these new energy waves your physical being is able to handle. In other words, every energy wave that enters your planet has a different type of, shall we say, electrical charge. Now, that's wild terminology, but it's the only thing I can think of so that you can understand what we are talking about. So this electrical wave comes in, and depending upon your understanding of who you are, it will make a difference as to how scattered your physical energy will be. In other words, if you know you're a hologram, you know you're working inside a physical construct called a body, but you know the body isn't you, but you allow the body to do its thing because that is your teacher. Your body is your teacher in this physicality. So you watch your body, and your body will handle the energy if that which is you, experiencing within the body, does not fight it. The minute a fight begins with the body, you begin forcing the body into different things. You become panicky. You're fighting the body. You're fighting the incoming energies, and you're going to have a real mess. This is why we are concerned about you, because if you understand what is happening, you will allow the body to do its thing. Fighting is only going to make it worse. So that is what we are concerned about. We feel that those on the planet, if they know what is happening, they can do something about it. You know the you that you are is so intelligent that you can't even begin to understand it. You are only using a very small portion of yourself to understand this reality. And the more you understand, the better you will be able to work with it. There is no way that you can stand out in the middle of a street and stop the waves coming into your planet. It can't be done. You must learn to function with the wave. Your planet is going to function with them. There are people on the planet that are going to function with them. And if you become panicky and begin to fight, and fight yourself, fight individuals you're working with, fight other things, it is not going to do you any good. So what we are trying to do is say, look, this is what is going to happen. Prepare yourselves for some different feelings of energy and let the body work with it. In other words, let's put it very simply. If someone in the next town tells you the dam is broken up there and your house is going to be flooded, do you not take precautionary measures to take your possessions if you can and move them up higher? Take them to what you call upstairs if you can? Or you board up your windows and you put sandbags around the bottom, and you take your provisions that you can and you put them in a vehicle and take you and the rest of what family you have with you. Or if you're alone, and get the vehicle and go someplace else, that is taking measures. When you know the dam is broken, your house is going to be flooded, you do something about it. All right, the energies are coming into the planet. Your planet is going to be changed by the energies. Your physical construct is going to be changed by the energies. Don't stand there and fight it. Allow it and watch what happens. This is all I'm saying. That is why we want to get this information to you. Is that sufficient, John? John, I have a comment on this that I'd like to peruse. I think that one of the difficulties with the people or the beings on this planet is that they have an extremely difficult time in recognizing that, number one, the universe itself has its agenda. Number two, the planet itself has its agenda. Number three, the body itself has its agenda. And all of these agendas must work in a symbiotic relationship. And if we, the so-called intelligence within the body, are the only bump in the road, we are going to get run over. DATRE, yes, yes, yes. Because everything is timing and orchestration. That is the name of the big game. Because, like the business with the atomic wars that you were thinking about getting involved in, you see that would not only be destructive to your planet, it would be destructive to everything else in the universe, because the atom is the most powerful thing you have on this planet. You are in the process, some of you are in the process of turning your hologram into an atomic structure through knowing. All right, now you take one atom and you make a bomb. Or you make weapons, and that sort of thing. And everybody starts throwing these weapons back and forth. I mean, the stuff that comes out of the weapons back and forth, you set up a vibratory wave upon your planet that disturbs other planets. You see, you're not sitting here alone. That is the thing. That is why it is disallowed. Because you are not only going to disrupt If it was just the disruption of your little planet and the individuals on it, they'd let it go ahead and be. But it is not, because the universe is symbiotic. It works in a symbiotic principle. That is why you have trouble in physicality, because you don't want to work on symbiotic relationships. Whatever it is, it has to be symbiotic. And so that is one of the things that causes a great deal of problems upon your planet. So everything in the universe is on a symbiotic principle. You can't go off and do your own thing, because if your own thing interferes with any other planet, any other system within the big universe, it is not allowed. That is one of the problems you have here, is you don't work on a symbiotic relationship. That's all right. That will be learned eventually. All right, John. The reason for that being that whatever pattern we've established in the so-called genetic line, we have an awful strong predisposition to be dictators as opposed to cooperators. DATRE, that is correct. John, we do this with the body and therefore we do it with everything. DATRE, yes? All right. Is that enough on that? John, that's enough on that for me. DATRE, all right. Is that the end of the questions? John, that's the end of the questions from Tara. DATRE, all right. We thank you very much. We have enjoyed being with you, and we will see you again. We are DATRE.